What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions. I wanted to do a new video because I think a lot of things have changed just since I did my most recent video yesterday. We've seen a 4% change in the Nate Silver model. So right when I clicked on the 538 page, I saw that Biden is slightly favored to win the election, which is different from the favored characterization that they have before. I think that the threshold for that, I I know that there's not much difference between slightly favored and favored, but I think the threshold is 30%. So right now, Trump is at wins in 31 out of 100 times, and Biden wins 69 out of 100 times. And this model on election day in 2016 had Trump at a 28.6% chance to win, and Hillary Clinton at a 71.4% chance to win. So Trump, right now in this current moment, according to Nate Silver, has a better chance to win the election than he did in 2016. And that isn't to say that he's definitely going to win because his chances are better. Still, Trump is the underdog. However, as this Fox saying is, don't count the underdog out. Upset wins are surprising but not impossible. And we definitely saw that in 2016. So just to look at this, we've seen that in the past, the model has been down as far as 27. Trump has never really gone down as far as 27. But before the model came out, Trump was as far down as in 21. This was like right after kind of the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests, when there was just a lot of energy. I saw there was a New York Times poll, and the amount of people that agreed with like the statement Black Lives Matter had like just shot up tremendously because and that isn't to say that like, some people don't think that Black Lives Matter, but there is an organization called Black Lives Matter, and it's a little bit more political, and they have a different agenda necessarily than just saying that all Black Lives Matter. Anyway, I don't want to get into politics. This is more of an election prediction channel, but I want to explain why these changes have made. And the first other website that I want to go to is Predictive, because we've also seen a few changes here. So before we've seen that the dark blue and kind of mid blue had been over the 270 mark, but that is not the case anymore. So right now, we see that if Trump were to win all the light blue states, which is obviously more plausible than some of these darker blue states like California, those are the safe blue, and these other states are more likely blue, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. But where we've seen the most movement is in the state of Wisconsin, and I think y'all can probably predict why. There's been a lot of news from the state of Wisconsin, specifically in the city of Kenosha. There was a shooting of a black man. As far as I know, he's in critical condition right now, and the details of the story have not been revealed. But since this tragic shooting, there have been a lot of protests, a lot of burnings and destruction of private property, and kind of violence against some police. And I think what people are betting on, just kind of based on where the odds in Wisconsin have gone, is that this will hurt Biden and help Trump. So it'll help the Republican nominee and hurt the Democratic nominee. And it actually is pretty significant. So Joe Biden was at a 67% chance to win, according to the betting odds. And right now, I think he stands currently at a 59% chance. So, this is a pretty substantial difference. And if we look at the betting odds overall, since about like early August, they have changed a lot. In fact, just in the past day, that they've changed a point, and we are now back in single digit in terms of the betting odds of the entire race, not just the state of Wisconsin, but the entire race. So before kind of, I would say, mid June, the race had kind of always been within single digit betting odds. But I think right now we can conclude that this race is going to come down to the nail. If this trend continues, which I honestly think it will, I think Trump will go ahead in the betting odds. I don't think Trump will ever, in the next 68 days, go ahead in the Nate Silver election odds. but I think in the betting odds, he will become ahead. And so what's pretty interesting is kind of looking at this snake here. We've seen that Pennsylvania and Wisconsin have changed places. And I'll kind of show you on Real Clear Politics. We have some polls that kind of reflect this change. And I think that's also kind of baked into the betting odds is kind of the turmoil going on in Wisconsin. I don't think that this model will like account for kind of daily changes that the average person who's like betting money on the election might, but this just looks at polls. So if we look at Arizona, right now Arizona is just a complete toss up. It's not Biden is not slightly flavored anymore. There have been a batch of kind of new polls coming out. I mean, we have one poll where Biden is +9, but in very few of these polls is Biden getting over 50%, and same with Trump. But we can see that Trump is leading in a couple of these polls, but Biden's winning the most. If we look at Florida too, I think North Carolina is kind of the toss up on the other end. So like right now, Arizona and North Carolina are very comparable, but on opposite sides. Florida, which I've said is going to be the most important race in the election, we can see it is also tightening up. So it's at 33 now; it's at 38. I don't know if this is kind of due to a changing in how they do the model because Nate Silver does these a lot, but I think it very well could be due to some of these polls that came out. I mean, having Biden +3, I think would tighten this up because I think in the past Biden's been up by 6, 8. So if we've seen a couple of polls in the recent memory that are have Biden at +4 and +3, this is an improvement, even though it's very slight. And let's go to Wisconsin, which I think right now would put Trump over the top right now. It is the tipping point state, according to the forecast. We see that Biden is slightly favored, not favored, which was the previous characterization. And we can see that in one poll, Trump is in ahead, and it is ahead. Now, I haven't done a ton of research on the Trafalgar Group, but I know that they are a Republican-leaning polling firm. That doesn't mean that they should be just discounted completely because I think Change Research is like also a Democratic one, but we do see that in a poll that was just conducted yesterday, I think that Trump is ahead. So out of the entire Rust Belt, we've talked about a lot where is Trump the most competitive. It's definitely not Michigan, and I think I've proven that. But I've talked about Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, even Minnesota as of late. But just looking at a lot of these polls that have just come out today, there have been a lot. We can see that Trump is up by 1. I mean, obviously, this is in the margin of error. He's not getting over 50%. In this one poll, we see very close races in North Carolina. Biden's up by a little bit. Florida, Arizona. I mean, these races are all within the margin of error. So, I mean, I would say these 4 races, if we just look at these 4 polls, they're just like pure toss-ups at this point. If we look at the Change Research, they have Biden up by a little bit more at 49, 50, 49%. So I would definitely say looking at these polls, we see that Biden does have an advantage. Looking down to the Tuesday polls, we see another poll where Biden is in the lead in Florida. So just to wrap up, we have seen that Trump has made marginal improvements in the past 3 days. We will see if he'll be able to continue these in the future. But if he does, we could see a scenario where Trump does overcome Biden in the betting odds and very, very potentially in the models as well. And I want to conclude on this. We see that looking at the JHK presidential forecast, which has been more bullish on Biden and less bullish on Trump, that we see just some marginal improvements in Trump's chances. So nothing really major here, but honestly, the 2 metrics I'm going to be focused on more are kind of where Nate Silver has it, where 538, and also the betting odds. I think those are going to be the 2 best predictors of the election, better than the polls. I mean, the polls are going to be baked into both of them. So that's where I'm going to be looking. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, comment on this video. Tell me what I can improve better. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.